Hello Gemini, welcome to your tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you happen to be watching this reading was meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. This is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. Okay? Remember that the most important part, Gemini, of any tarot reading is you. And here is a Princess of Swords. So that's going to be our starting point today. All right, we're going to do our Dove and Serpent spread. And as I do this, as always, I would like to say that if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. Now finishing up with the Path of the Serpent. A lot of good energy. God, Gemini, I think you're really on a roll. Let's do a mystery card. Bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use Rider-Waite-Smith. Give it a quick shuffle. And this is the card that we're going to set aside. We're not going to look at it until the very end of the reading. In fact, we're going to put the frog on top of it. Make sure that card doesn't hop away. And hopefully at the end of the reading that will tie everything together and, give us that confirmation that we need. So looking around, we've got major. We've got some fire. We've got some earth. We've got some air and water. We got another major right there. And we've got some more fire over here. So it's a pretty balanced reading, I would say. It seems like it's a little bit concentrated on the fire, which I think is a very good thing. I think we have, 1, 2, 3 fire cards, but then we also have the Tower and the Temperance card. Those are both fire energy cards. So a lot of fire, a lot of court cards, and then a lot of fire, right? So, Gemini, I feel like this is really an intense, fiery kind of energy for you where there is a lot of creativity, a lot of ambition, a lot of this almost aggressive energy with you. Like you're just ready to go, You're ready to start building. You're ready to start getting something underway. It's almost like you're right at the starting gate and you're just, for some reason, you're being held back, but your energy is just growing and growing and growing, and you're ready to get started on this, right? Whatever this is, you're ready to get started. I feel like there's something that hasn't yet come into place or fallen into place, or a certain part of this lock has not been activated or engaged yet. Okay, because this Princess of Swords, this is telling me that there's still perhaps some resistance somewhere. There's one element of this that is going to take a little finessing to get it going, right? I don't know if this is necessarily a business or a work-related thing or a career thing. It could be related to your home. It could be in terms of a relationship or some kind of a networking, some kind of an organization, some kind of project that you're trying to get going. Okay, this could be in your personal life. It could be something that just you're trying to put together in your home, in your studio. It could be something involving a larger group of people. Because we see a lot of these court cards, we've got a kind of a trio of court cards. We've got a trio of these fiery pip cards. We've got a trio of the major arcana, right? And then we're just kind of accented by a little bit of this earth energy. So I feel like this is something that is very meaningful to you, not only as a creative outlet, as a creative endeavor or project with the fire energy, but something that is also very spiritually meaningful for you. Something that is it's kind of a demonstration of your spiritual growth. It's a symbol, it's an expression of your spiritual growth, right? I think it's also something on the physical plane that is going to be very rewarding for you, okay? I think there is one element that has yet to come into place that feels like this element is still a little bit resistant. I don't know if this is a another personality involved. Okay, the princesses sometimes represent a specific personality. It could be a younger feminine energy, it could be an air sign. But I almost feel like this is a contrary opinion. This is either part of your own thinking that has a different opinion, or it could be an opinion coming from some other quarter of your life, maybe friends, family. Maybe there's an opposing viewpoint or an opposing opinion here, right? Somebody is not yet convinced of this. It could be, like I said, a small part of you that is not fully convinced that you've got all the details sorted out properly, right? It could be, like I said, another personality, but I feel like this is just a little bit of opposition. Someone or something is still, as yet, a little bit resistant to the plans that you have, that you're trying to execute and what you're trying to put in place. Okay. With the earth energy that's crossing this card today, this is the Eight of Discs. These could be those details. This could be some aspect of this. There's one particular detail maybe that this person or this entity, this personality, is opposed to. They're not quite convinced of a particular detail of this. Okay? And this could, again, be going on internally with you, that there's just one aspect of this, one small detail that you're focusing on that you're not quite satisfied with yet, right? You're still kind of tinkering with this one thing. But I feel like we could overdo the tinkering a little bit, I think we're trying to get this thing as perfect as possible. But if we chip away a little bit too much, we've ruined it, right? If we tinker too much, then we've really kind of gone the opposite way, and now it's just a big mess, and now we maybe have to scrap it and start over. So we can only tinker so much before we really break it, right? And I feel like the Eight of Discs is kind of talking about that, how we're involved in this maybe one particular detail, one particular aspect. There's one thing that we're not quite satisfied with, and we're tinkering with it, okay? But what we might not be seeing, because of the Eight of Discs, we might not be seeing that this overall is damn near perfect the way it is, right? That even this little, what you might perceive as one little teensy-weensy flaw, is part of this beauty and perfection of this thing. Okay. Now, this could be a relationship, a potential partnership. It could be a business thing, a project, a creative work, some music that you're creating, some art, painting, I don't know, whatever it is. It could be a project at work, something that you're working on in your employment, or it could be something you're working on in your home, in your garden, in your garage, whatever, right? Building a car, building a house, renovating something, all sorts of possibilities, right? And if you feel like it, leave me a comment. Let me know where this is manifesting for you. Let me know what this project is, and is there one particular detail that we kind of can't accept as being the way it is, right? Now, it feels more to me like this is an internal thing, but the fact is we have a lot of these court cards. We have 3 of these court cards here. So I feel like this isn't something that you're doing alone. There is at least one other person involved with this, okay? It could be a vendor, a contractor. It could be someone helping you with the work. It could be your spouse or your partner or your best friend. It could be your dog. I don't know. But I feel like this other person also was a little bit resistant to this particular thing, right? It could be that you and this other person together are making this a lot worse than it is, because you're both sitting there saying, yeah, something's not right about that. What do we do? How do we fix it? Right? So the two of you are just kind of gassing each other up. And I should go to this Tower card, because what I see, if this kind of thing continues, we're going to end up bringing the whole tower down, right? It's like there's that one little stone down at the bottom. Doesn't quite look right. We need to maybe chisel away a little bit. We need to polish it up, smooth it out, sand it down, whatever. Too much of that, and we're going to ruin that stone. The whole tower is going to come down, right? So this is a potential for kind of for overdoing it. Overdoing this, dare I say, a little bit of perfectionism. A little bit of this kind of obsession with this one little detail, right? So we want to kind of avoid having a tower moment here, because I think what you're looking for is steady growth. You're looking for a real kind of balanced expression, nothing too abrupt, right? Because this tower energy, you put this thing up too fast, well, might be a little wobbly. We need to have some attention to detail. We want it to be slow and steady. We want to get to this 6 of Wands at the end. Okay? I'm kind of jumping ahead a bit. That is the steady, even creation of whatever this thing is. You know, we're not getting stuck here on this detail. We need to get over this particular resistance right now, but we also don't want to rush it. I said at the beginning that all of this fire energy is kind of building up where you're just like, you're ready to go. You want to just hurry it along. Perhaps there is this other personality involved. Maybe they're the ones that are stuck on this detail. And you just want to push it through. You're ready to go, right? And I guess the option is that maybe they convince you that something's wrong with this detail, and then we're suppressing all of this fire energy. Or it goes the other way, and you push your opinion through. Let's forget about this little detail. It's meaningless. I've got all this fiery energy. I don't want to hold it in any longer. Let's go. And that, either way, either extreme, gets us to this tower energy. So we've got to in some way bypass the tower here, okay? We want attention to detail, but not too much. And we certainly don't want to overlook it and just rush forward with all of this fire energy. Now, you're full of the fire. Ace of Wands. This is something I feel like is a divine inspiration. I feel like it is kind of, it is just fired up from within you. The fire came down upon you, and this idea, this inspiration, this aspiration, maybe came to you in a flash. You know, it might have been such an intense experience where one day you might have just been walking down the street and then bam, it hits you. And you know what you have to do. And you knew what your purpose was. You knew what this, it's just like you had it. It's like from Back to the Future, right? Doc is standing on the edge of the toilet, hanging a clock, slips, falls, hits his head. He wakes up with a vision of the flux capacitor. You know what kind of looks like the flux capacitor? This one. So I think this is the realization of your vision, okay? Sorry for that very old movie reference. But I feel like this is where that idea came from, and I think it probably happened in just a random moment, or in something like very full of adrenaline, you know, like you slipped, or you know, when you kind of have a near miss when you're in your car or something, right? And you get that adrenaline going, right? And you just kind of feel the tingles all over from that kind of near miss, you know. I feel like that's kind of the energy, and I don't know when or where that happened, but I feel like it was that intense for you when you got the idea for this. And this was the beginning of all the fire energy. Now, the fire could end badly. It could end in literally, you know, the ruin of the plans, the destruction of this project, right? So we want to avoid the fire manifesting that way. We want the fire to be slow and steady and grow and be balanced and tempered with the Temperance or Art card. We want it to be strong, right? You have to have commitment and resolve. You have to be disciplined. You have to have the will to do this despite the setbacks, despite the fact that you might have to hold back your fire a little bit. And we certainly want to avoid any confusion, and we want to get to the perfect realization of this project or plan of yours, right? So that's where we're going to the Six of Wands. Now, we've talked about the Ace of Wands and kind of where all of this began. I think underneath it all is this Princess of Discs. You've always been one to follow through, right? You're someone who, when you are committed to something, when you give your word, when you begin something, you finish it. I feel like everything that you've kind of really put your fire into in life, you've managed to produce something almost out of thin air, almost like a magic trick, right? Where you just got the quarter behind the ear thing. And there it is. You're a manifester, right? Because look, we have the fire up top. We have this earth down here at the bottom. And if you're a follower of this channel, you know that I love fire and earth together. That's like my favorite combination. The fire is that creative idea, that inspiration, that will, that flash of, I've got it. You know, you wake up, you've got the vision, right? And you manifest it. How do you manifest it? Well, we're going down here through this air and earth energy, through the kind of opposition of the Princess of Swords, right? There's a little bit of complication here with the different opinions, or that little detail that seems out of place, or the resistance to the flow. But if we pay attention to the details and we do it just right, not too fast, not too slow, we'll get down here to this Princess of Discs. And yet again in your life, you will have manifested what your will and intent, what your creative energy is giving you the go-ahead for, right? So I think you've always been one to do that. I think that this isn't anything new for you. I think, you know, on an energetic level, you are a manifester, right? And I know I said that before. I want to emphasize that. That's why I repeat myself, for emphasis, okay? You're very committed, and you're very practical. And I think that if, I don't think you're ever quite done with something until you can have the final finished product, right? All polished up and shiny, ready to go. You know, until you get to that very satisfying place where it's like, yes, I'm done. This is my creation, and you see it sparkling, you know. That's when you know you're done. But until you get to that point, I think we're up here in this air and earth kind of energy, right? And it could go sideways. And then what happens if it goes sideways? We hit the tower if we go sideways, right? So we want to kind of go, we want to go directly down. We want to take the elevator from the top floor all the way down to the ground floor, right? We don't want to go sideways. I've never been in an elevator that goes sideways. We want to go right on down to manifestation. Now, in the past maybe, but behind you is this double water, okay? Double water. This is someone who is at odds with their emotions, with their feelings, kind of at odds with their almost spiritual relationship with someone, or with themselves too, could be. So I almost wonder if this project that you're doing, this inspiration, this kind of vertical path, this elevator that we're on, if it's kind of in a little bit of opposition to how we feel about someone else, or kind of how they feel about us or about this project. I don't know if there's someone in your life that is kind of a naysayer, right? It kind of doesn't want you to do this, doesn't think it's a good idea, doesn't like it, has some sort of feelings toward it, right? For their own reasons, they just are kind of, they're not too happy about this project. Does that make sense? So I feel like there's a little bit of an emotional conflict. Someone's at odds with the feelings behind this, right? But I really feel like this water energy here, this is the only water that we have. And it's kind of behind us. It's kind of off to the side, right? And maybe when we're on this elevator, if we go sideways one way, we hit the tower, fire, tower. If we go the other way, if we go sideways, we hit the water, water on water. So perhaps this other way is giving in to some kind of emotional opposition, some kind of sadness, some kind of feeling like someone close to us has some negative feelings surrounding this, and we surrender to that, right? Someone else doesn't like it, so you say, okay, I won't do it, right? And that could be. That's taking this project sideways. I don't know who in your life would say that. They could be a water sign person, but maybe not. I don't think this has to do with their astrology. But it almost feels a little bit manipulative to me, okay? Just a little bit. Right? Just a little bit. But this water is in opposition to all of this fire. And even the air, it's not really in opposition. This Princess of Swords is not in opposition to you. They're just in opposition to this one little detail. They're trying to just fix this one little thing. They might be too focused on this one little thing. But they're not in opposition to the overall plan of the project. They're working with you. Again, this could be an aspect of yourself. They're working with you. They're part of this project, but they just don't agree with this one little thing. And they're trying to change that one little thing. But the water energy is in opposition to the fire energy, right? Would rather you temper your fire all the way down and do something else, do nothing at all. So it could be an aspect of yourself that just wants to kind of give in and just wants to yield to the inertia and would just like to relax and not have this fiery inspiration. It could be that this is a cycle for you. You get this inspiration, you get fired up, and you maybe work yourself pretty hard to get things accomplished, to get down here to this Princess of Discs, right? So we have to look at where this water energy is coming from. What is this emotional, almost a deep connection with someone or some part of yourself that just kind of is in opposition to this whole thing, in opposition to the fire energy, just wants things to cool down, doesn't want the excitement, doesn't want the busyness, right? Just, it's really, really cut off from the rest of this reading. This is kind of the odd card out right now. This Queen of Cups, water on water. I think we should go to the path of the serpent now. And speaking of that, temperance, right? This is the art or temperance card. This is your general energy. I think this is the general energy that we need to invoke. We need to assume it. And this is, it's kind of a blending of the fire and the water. I don't know if this is maybe a compromise with this Queen of Cups, right? If we could slow things down a little bit, or perhaps make room for a little bit more intimacy with that energy, if you know what I mean. We could be so focused on this project, this work stuff, this spiritual, creative, whatever this is, that we might be neglecting parts of our relationship with this water energy, okay? And this water energy could literally be an intimate relationship that you're involved with. It could be spending quality time with loved ones, with your pets, with your plants, with yourself. It could be self-care, not self-hair. Care for your hair, though, too. Self-care and relaxation and the kind of restorative healing water energy, right? So that could be part of it. So in that sense, maybe we do need a little bit of balance and equilibrium here. Maybe we do need to temper a little bit of this fire with a little bit of the self-care and the intimate quality time with ourselves and with others to achieve balance, right? To achieve balance. And that could be the way that we avoid this tower. It could be the way that we really avoid going to either side, right? We don't want this project, no pun intended, but going sideways, right? We don't want to go into the tower with too much fire, we don't want to go completely into the water with too much water. We want to be right here in the middle. And that takes skill, that takes planning, that takes creativity, that takes subtlety and art. Right? That's the other name for this temperance card, is art. The artful blending of the fire and the water to achieve perfect harmony, which leads then to perfect success. Next card is the Nine of Wands. More fire energy. We already talked about this a little bit. This is your commitment to what you're doing, the strength of will, your willpower to overcome obstacles, overcome doubt, really being vigilant with yourself and having that commitment and that willpower, holding fast to your will, to your aspiration. Not being pushed aside, not letting this thing go sideways, right? This is an elevator that is solidly in the center, right? Middle pillar. So we're not going to let this go sideways, right? We're going to try our best to keep on this equal footing, this balance, this equilibrium, this art or temperance card. This is the support, and then this is the kind of arrow, this is the middle pillar of, of Sagittarius, really. I know I'm reading for Gemini, okay? But the art or temperance card rules the sign of Sagittarius. This card is the sun in Sagittarius, okay? So I feel like this is really about you keeping focused and staying on the straight and narrow. Right, staying on the vertical path of the dove here. Staying on this elevator from the top to the bottom, not going sideways. Right? It could also indicate that there is a Sagittarius person close to you that may be involved. This could be related to this water energy. I know Sagittarius is a fire sign, but they could have this water connection with you. In terms of these emotional ties, right? This intimacy, perhaps. So it could be a Sagittarius person that is involved in this in some way. Okay. Now, the next card that we have is the Fool energy. This is what we don't want. It's in the position of what we don't want. We don't want confusion. We don't want any surprises. We don't want to be lost in confusion and thought and chaos and a whirlwind of too many ideas, too much thinking and overthinking and non-thinking, really. The Fool in some ways is the opposite of overthinking. It's kind of underthinking, right? We don't want to be lost in the clouds to the point where we don't even know what we're thinking about, where we're going, what we're doing, right? We don't want to be lost in the confusion. We don't want to get so carried away with any of these little details or any of this, the opposing opinions or this water energy, but primarily this air, right? Because the Fool is air. The Princess of Swords is air. It's the necessary air that we have to go through. The risk of being in this air, because on this elevator we're going from fire and then into the air, through the air to manifest this earth energy. Okay, so we have to go through the air. There's danger there. There's danger of really getting lost, of getting sidetracked, of getting so just kind of entranced by all of the ideas and thoughts and all of the air and all of the images and sounds that we hear in this atmosphere that we completely forget what we're doing. We get lost, right? We get stuck on something else. We just we blow in a different direction, right? And that's the real risk. So that's why it's important to maintain this resolve, this Nine of Wands, this commitment, this vigilance. Because the mind is easily distracted. The mind can, under normal circumstances, generally speaking, can really be pulled away quite easily. There are so many shiny things out there for us to hear and see that it's easy, generally speaking, okay, to get distracted. And that's what we kind of need to be vigilant against, okay? And I'm not saying that's you, Gemini. I'm saying the opposite is true for you, because we have this Nine of Wands. And this is in the position of we don't want. This is what we're aware of. We want to make sure that we stay on this vertical path. So this is what we avoid. You know, a lot of distractions up here. A lot of thoughts. Anyone who's tried to meditate for even 5 seconds knows that the mind really does kind of blow like just an unpredictable wind. You know, it's kind of someone that's full of air, right? Full of hot air. Airhead, I think, is another rather derogatory phrase that we could relate to this Fool energy. The Fool is a bit of the airhead. And that just is, it's a mystical truth, right? I know it's kind of a cliche, derogatory term, but it really does talk about the mystical truth of this, because having the airhead, having the kind of absence of thought is the highest kind of mystical attainment, right? Or it's very close. It's on the road to that highest mystical attainment. We empty out our minds, right? That's kind of one of the practices. But the Fool also could go the other way, right? Because the Fool is the wise man, the sage, the mystic, but also the Fool, the airhead, right? So the term airhead or empty-headed has kind of both connotations. What we really want to avoid is the foolish behavior, the getting so distracted, so wrapped up in our thoughts or with these other ideas or just whatever may be going on upstairs in this air energy. We got to always remain vigilant and stay on our track, stay on purpose, you know. So the air energy, overcoming that as our obstacle, and then we have our perfect success. This is your flux capacitor manifested. The ace might be the vision. This is the reality. So whatever you're working to attain, I think you're going to attain it. You're going to create it. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be what makes time travel possible. Right? Let's make that mystery card possible. I want to see what kind of a confirmation this is. The frog didn't tell me what it was. I was hoping that it would. It did not. It could be a balance of some water energy. I think that would be quite appropriate now. Maybe another major arcana, something like an empress or even an emperor, I think, would be very appropriate right now. But I'd like to see some balanced water. Maybe a 6 of cups or something. No, 7 of Wands, more of the fire energy. More of the fire energy. So this card is, as a confirmation or as a bonus, is saying, look, there's going to probably come a moment in all of this where it does seem like this challenge is too great, right? It will seem like this is really a struggle. My back hurts, my shoulders hurt, I have tension. I just don't want to do it anymore. Right? I think you're going to be entertaining thoughts of just giving it up. That's Fool energy, right? That's what we don't want. That's getting lost in all of these distractions. I start thinking about how tired I am, how lying down would be really great right now. And before you know it, it's been hours or days that we've been entertaining these thoughts. We haven't done any work. We haven't gone and lied down either. So we're getting stuck in that Fool energy, okay? This will be an exhausting task for you. Exhausting mentally, trying to sort out this detail or this opposing opinion or this person that has kind of some different ideas or whatever this air energy is here in the middle. And then also dealing with this water energy. That's going to be very taxing to your vital energy, to your physical energy. So it could literally be manifesting as back and shoulder pain. If this is your resolve and your will and your steadfastness and your vigilance, this firmness, this strength, this is really feeling the effects of that strength. And it's starting to really kind of make your back muscles ache. Your shoulders are getting tight, right? You probably got a knot back here, right? But that knot is not just a physical knot. That knot is an emotional knot and a mental knot. And it may be a creative, spiritual kind of knot as well. If, like at the beginning, we said that you were having to kind of suppress some of this fire energy, that's going to create tension too. So all of these things are opposing. It feels like you're just being kind of squeezed by this whole thing. We have to resist the urge to give up, right? And that's the final test. You know, you're just about to break through when the urge to quit becomes so great that you have to be a titan to push for that last little extra. And then you've made it, right? I think anyone, again, people who meditate or do yoga, you know that right when the urge to quit is the greatest that you've ever felt. You feel like the world is just crumbling down around you, right? As Crowley says, when the gorillas got you by the short hairs. Or maybe it was Moda that said that. I don't remember. That's when you know that you're just a hair's width from success. Okay? And that's when you have to muster up that little bit extra. That's when you need to kind of maybe lean into this tower energy a little bit and take a little bit of that force, a little bit of that fire, lean a little bit into your water energy and get some refreshment and some strength from that to continue on your path, right? So I think this is a very good confirmation card. I think this is vitally important for what we're doing right now. I hope you'll leave me some comments and let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if this resonates. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do an extended reading. If you would like to stick around, please click on the link right there. And you can have access to all of the extendeds for all zodiac signs. Okay. We do something like, 12 or 15 readings every week. You can have access to all of the extendeds for all of those, okay? This was your timeless reading, which means whenever you are watching this, this is when you were meant to see it. It was meant to find you. You're here for a reason. Thank you for being here. And I hope you'll come back and see me again very soon.